October 31st is a double holiday in 2017. As trick-or-treaters go door to door, the initial college football playoff rankings will be handed out. Alabama has been scary good and seems a lock to sit atop the first football four. The prime contenders for spots 2 through 4 must close October with a win. Today on CBS, Georgia vies to remain in line for playoff position. In their way, a Florida team that has beaten them 3 straight times. Should the Dogs answer the door? Find out on State Farm College Football Today, if you dare.
Fights his way all the way. Touchdown. You got to be ready for it, but how do you stop it? Fires. And there he goes. Touchdown. Well, this is how legends are made.
Are you scared? Hello, everybody. I'm Adam Zucker, and welcome to State Farm College Football Today. Coming up next, an SEC East showdown. Number 3, Georgia, taking on rival Florida. Joining me are Rick Neuheisel and Brian Jones, a.k.a. the better man. and BJ, the Bulldogs are playing to keep this thing going and find a spot in those top 4 rankings on Tuesday night.
In the words of my former NFL coach, Jim Moore, playoffs? Who's thinking about playoffs? You really talking about playoffs? Hey, just win this one today, a rivalry game, win the SEC, and the playoffs will take care of themselves, right? Okay? Don't get ahead of yourself. Win this one. That's what Georgia needs to concentrate on.
Adam, you pointed out that Florida has won the last 3 contests, but under the heading Hope Springs Eternal, the Gators have also won the last 3 games, pitting these 2 teams when Georgia is a top 5 team. I promise you, Florida fans, hope more than hope is the strategy today.
Yeah, they got their history lessons, and part of that history is the Gators stopping the Dogs' running attack. Is this going to be the game where we see Jake Fromm tested?
Well, there was a lot of nervous energy when Jacob Eason went down against App State. There's no question about it. But since that time, he has proven no stage is too big for him. He's been outstanding. 12 touchdowns, only 3 picks. He's run for 3 touchdowns. But maybe more importantly, he's just acted like he's supposed to be there. He's just an outstanding signal caller, and Jim Chaney has a lot of confidence in him. He can call any kind of play, deep balls, you name it.
Well, you better have confidence in your running game because it's pivotal in this matchup. And Malik Davis, speaking of confidence, the true freshman, is the lead Gator there in Gainesville. The last 2 ball games, 32 carries, 187 yards, at least 90 yards in the last 5 ball games. When you look at this matchup, speaking of the running game, whoever wins that category wins the ball game. And look for a lot of running today because you got some dynamite backs who are going to participate.
Yes, 11 straight times that factor has been the determining one. And Davis, the leader in the country last year in high school, running the football as well. All right, let's check out both teams warming up now live in our eye test in Jacksonville. Interesting thing here, after losing 3 straight wearing those home reds, Georgia's wearing the road whites, Rick.
Well, we're talking about Jake Fromm. We talked about his numbers. What a competitor, though, Brian. This kid, he knew Jacob Eason was the starter. Right. He still came to Georgia.
And how about Nick Chubb and the career he's had there in Athens? Last year was the first time that both he and Sony Michel played in this rivalry game.
Couple of other big-time running backs also getting chances there, Swift and Holofield. The offensive line, though, has got to be exactly what they have been looking for. Kirby Smart went and hired Sam Pittman from Arkansas to go along with Jim Chaney. They wanted to be able to control the line of scrimmage. That has been exactly the formula this year.
And according to StatSync, they run 67% of the time. They want to be a hard-nosed, tough-running football team. That's exactly what Kirby Smart has brought to Athens.
Kirby also obviously is in charge of that defense, having served as the defense coordinator for Nick Saban in Alabama, bringing Mel Tucker along with him. This defense has not disappointed. They have been outstanding.
Watch Raekwon Smith and Lorenzo Carter, 6'6", 243, the leader in tackles for loss and sacks.
Georgia trying to go to 8-0 for the 8th time in school history, and as we cross the Georgia-Florida line, Felipe Franks, they got to keep him off the ground, Rick.
Well, by the numbers, he's fine. He's a 64% passer. He's got 4 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions, but if they've just managed him. They've got to give him a chance to throw some balls down the field. And obviously with Malik Davis in the backfield, that'll help.
Opportunities don't go away. They just go to someone else. Jordan Scarlett was the leading rusher a season ago for the Gators. He was one of the 9 that were suspended at the beginning of the season. Malik Davis took advantage of that opportunity.
And, of course, the story of Jim McElwain that we will be discussing at length in this show. And, of course, winning makes a lot of stuff go away, Rick.
A bizarre week. We've talked about that, but the focus now on the players. And obviously, when you look at this front right here, this defensive front, that's going to be the cornerstone of their opportunity today if they can put some stops on that Georgia run game and get some third down stops as well.
Yeah, they get Jabari Zuniga back apparently at that defensive end after losing Jordan Sherritt for the season with a hip injury. So you want to put Fromm in some precarious positions like 3rd and long as often as possible.
And Jeremiah Moon also going to be back for the Gators after missing a game as well. Interesting nugget here. Georgia and Florida are the only Power 5 schools left who have scored on every red zone trip. Rick's about to explain why the Bulldogs are 29 for 29 with 20 touchdowns in today's Red Zone presented by Verizon, sir.
When you get in condensed areas, play callers always want to include the quarterback to add some numbers to the equation. Here, Jake Fromm looks out and sees just 2 for 2 for his wide receivers. He knows he's going to have an opportunity with an arc release there by his tight end. He can read that end-line defender, watch to see if he follows the running back, which he does here, and follow that arc block into the end zone. It's Fromm into State Farm right here, into the end zone.
Well, the Sam linebacker there, Brandon Lee, plays that too soft, and you always know who has force. It's either Cloud, it's Sky, or it's Backer. Clearly, it's Backer there, and Brandon Lee, the outside backer from Missouri, played it too soft, didn't know his responsibility.
Yeah, and look, Georgia 29 for 29. We said Florida was perfect as well, but it's only been 15 trips to the red zone all season. You know who makes a lot of trips to the red zone? Oklahoma State and West Virginia as we check out top 25 action already underway. Mountaineers have lost 6 straight ranked-on-ranked games. And we have the backup mascot. Trevor Keese is in there. The starter was suspended.
He had a few problems operating the motor vehicle when he shouldn't have been. Mason Rudolph, no problems here. Short pass to J.D. King. Rudolph, he's going to break a ton of records today if he keeps that up. But, this is one record he doesn't want. An interception. Intercepted by West Virginia safety. Kenny Robinson takes it to the house. But here comes
Justice Hill, baby.
Cowboys. Justice Hill there with the run.
37-24, so a 13-point lead on the road there. Big game. Meanwhile, we found the recipe for whiskey. 1-yard run up the middle.
Fullback's not extinct in Madison. There's Alex Ingold plunging in for a 1-yard touchdown.
But Jonathan Taylor gets hurt here.
Jonathan Taylor getting nicked up, only 12 carries for 73 yards. Hopefully they'll get him back. But watch a little trickeration right here. Big fellas like this stuff. Cornerback throws a lateral.
That's a new recipe.
6'6". Michael Dieter, all 328 pounds of him.
That's not whiskey, that's rye. All right, Miami facing 1-7 North Carolina. They need trick plays to beat Mark Richt's team, DJ.
The U is back, and this version of the U, they like the close ones. Double reverse here, pass. Anthony Ratliff-Williams to former quarterback or backup quarterback Nathan Elliott, and then Malik Rozier. This guy is pretty good. Take notice. He finds Jeff Thomas for the 78-yarder down now. That's nice. North Carolina.
Yeah, haven't started this well in conference play since 2004. So
that's when they joined the conference. Yep.
Well, how about that? How about that? It continues right now.
Information.
Meanwhile, though, Mark Richt doing it with his new team.
Wonderful to see Mark Richt doing such a great job. This game did not start well. North Carolina had some real opportunities inside the 5-yard line. They didn't capitalize. Obviously, Miami has shored up their goal line defense.
How about Mason Rudolph? After that pick 6, he comes back, leads his team down the field, and this Tony Gibson defense there for the Mountaineers, not playing as stellar as they did a season ago.
No, all right, we'll see how those games all wrap up. Meanwhile, we got SEC action already underway. Been a wild game with 2 teams featuring their backup quarterbacks, Arkansas and Ole Miss. It's Jordan Ta'amu for the Rebels, Rick.
Adding a dimension to this offense. He takes it himself and scores on a 49-yard touchdown run. That's new and different for this Rebel offense. The big fellow Cole Kelly finding Cheyenne O'Grady right here for a 9-yard touchdown off a screen. He's jumping into the end zone. Ta'amu again getting outside, finding 31 yards down the field. DK Metcalf, Ole Miss field goal.
Arkansas not going away. 2-point game. It's been a wild comeback at times for the Razorbacks. A reminder, a full day and night of college football action over on CBS Sports Network. It's Air Force Colorado State right now, followed by Missouri and UConn. In the nightcap, Utah State hosts Boise State. And never miss a moment of college football with the CBS Sports app. Every play, every story, every highlight, right as they happen. Download the CBS Sports app now. More ranked on ranked action to talk about. We'll focus on Penn State, Ohio State, and NC State, Notre Dame in our Saturday Spotlight when we come back. You are watching State Farm College Football Today on CBS.
Phillip Rivers and the Chargers battle Tom Brady and the Patriots. Deshaun Watson and the Texans take on Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. Top quarterbacks, great game Sunday on CBS.
And here comes the entire team. Watch this for excessive celebration.
Florida, Georgia to win the game. Kick is up, on the way. It looks good, and it is good.
Jordan Reed fumbles it into the end zone.
He throws it. Gurley's wide open down the middle of the field. Touchdown, baby!
They fake it, and they go right. Touchdown, Florida!
Oh, it's getting weird. Sony Michel's gearing up for his final shot at a win against the Gators. The senior running back has found the end zone in 5 of the 6 games he's played in this season, and the aspiring rapper also finds himself the topic of today's 20-second drill.
Sony Michel, the running back at the University of Georgia, upcoming senior, communications major, hopefully to get my degree in December. Favorite food, pizza, wings, hibachi. I am a musician, I'm a rapper.
Coming through in that dog walk, we represent for that red and black.
Got a song with Rich Homie Quan, UGA anthem. Favorite movie? No got it.
Show the other team with them dogs at Dog Nation gon' represent.
He can't name a movie?
That'll make you feel some type of way.
Yeah.
There you go. Bounce with it.
He's doing something.
You're trying hard to
Don't
say
make
something
the
mean to me.
pizza. Just bounce with it.
Start the lawnmower.
No helicopter or sprinkler. Yeah.
Rick's exercise video is coming out soon. All right, we got to get picks here and some results from last week.
Yes,
BJ, take a bow, man.
Oh, do we
Perfect
really need to do this?
4-0. Rick 2-2 last week.
I got it right where I wanted it.
Yeah? 3 games back in the standings so far? All right, whatever works for you.
View.
Let's take a look at this week's games in our Saturday Spotlight presented by Chick-fil-A, starting with the clash in Columbus. Number 2, Penn State. Number 6, Ohio State. The Nittany Lions looked unstoppable against Michigan. Their star Saquon Barkley gets most of the pub. But how about this defense? They allow just 9.6 points a game, fewest in the nation. The Buckeyes have crushed everyone they've played except Oklahoma. J.T. Barrett, 21 touchdown passes in their 6 wins. None in that loss to OU, BJ. A big one in the Big Ten East.
Yeah, Ohio State, these last 4, they've scored 50 points, over 500 yards of total offense. But who have they played? No one. Now they're going to take on a defense, the best defense they've seen, even better than Oklahoma's defense, mind you. Now, their defense is pretty stout as well. This would be the best offense Penn State has seen, but I'm going with the Nittany Lions 2 weeks in a row.
I'm on Ohio State. Urban Meyer has been fantastic after a bye. He does it again today.
All right. Meanwhile, 9th-ranked Notre Dame, another tough one, another one-loss team in South Bend. Number 14, NC State. The Wolfpack have ripped off 6 straight wins since the loss to South Carolina. 2 reasons: Ryan Finley, who has a streak of 313 passes without an interception, and Bradley Chubb, who's been unstoppable. 14 tackles for a loss, 6.5 sacks. The Irish, though, have won 5 in a row after dominating USC. Brandon Wimbush and Josh Adams combined for 297 yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground. Rick, one of the best rushing teams in the country.
This is going to be a great game in South Bend. And if you like trenches, all those pro scouts will be there to watch all these guys in the trenches. And it's hard to pick against this Adams and Wimbush. They've been outstanding on the ground. But North Carolina State, 6th in the country against that. And Ryan Finley's got 11 touchdowns, as well as this efficiency. I'm on the Wolf.
So you're picking against them? Wow.
Well, I'm going to stay with Notre Dame 2 weeks in a row as well. This is going to be a slobber knocker, as you said, in the trenches. 6th rushing offense, 6th rush defense. It should be fun.
And NC State, fewest turnovers committed in the country this year.
Yes.
Meanwhile, 4th-ranked TCU visiting number 25, Iowa State. Are you getting used to that? The Horned Frogs are the lone undefeated team in the Big 12, coming off a monster defensive effort. Limited Kansas to 21 total yards, fewest in Big 12 history. The Cyclones hope to get their 2nd win over a top 5 team this season. Former 3rd stringer Kyle Kemp, completing 70% of his passes, has 7 touchdowns, just 1 interception, BJ, and he's not afraid of the big moment.
No, he's not. 3-0 since he took over their quarterback position for Iowa State. But it's about their defense as well, not just, Marcel Spears at the linebacker position, defensive player of the week in the Big 12, Willie Harvey, his buddy in that linebacker room. I'm going with TCU, though.
I like TCU as well. You're finally making sense.
So you're going to go with the Horned Frogs. Okay. All right. Meanwhile, Pac-12. How about number 21 USC visiting resurgent Arizona State? The Trojans struggled against Notre Dame, but they're still in the hunt for the conference championship. Sam Darnold is the driving force still, but had an FBS high now, 16 turnovers. After back-to-back conference wins for the first time since 2015, the Sun Devils, a major player in the Pac-12 South race, so is Arizona. Both teams control their own fate in the division.
Two trains going in opposite directions. Phil Bennett, the defensive coordinator for Arizona State, has solidified that defense. They've held opponents to 17 points the last 2 weeks in both victories. I think Sparky gets it done again. USC beat up emotionally and physically.
Hey, but they bounce back. I'm going with USC. They've lost their first 2 road games. They're going to win this one.
All right.
Actually, they won at Cal, but they lost these last 2.
Get yourself together.
I got it together. USC, come on.
The picks are in. All right, back to our game now, and it was quite an eventful and unusual week in Gainesville, to say the least. Jim McElwain took center stage on Monday when, during his weekly press conference, he mentioned that he and his family had received death threats in the wake of Florida's recent struggles.
There's a lot of hate in this world, and a lot of anger, and yet it's freedom to show it. And you know, the hard part is obviously when the threats against your own players, the death threats to your families, you know, the ill will that's brought upon out there. And yet, you know, I think it's really one of those deals that really is a pretty good testament to what's going on out there nationally. There's a lot of angry people in this business. We're the ones that you take the shots at, and that's the way it is.
Well, he's right about a lot of what he said, but that press conference was the first any authorities heard of such threats. And in response, Florida released a statement Monday afternoon that read, "The University Athletic Association takes the safety of our student athletes, coaches, staff, and families very seriously. Our administration met with Coach McElwain this afternoon, and he offered no additional details." McElwain said Wednesday he was wrong to bring up death threats that happened in the past. He acknowledged letting his emotions take over and that the last thing he wanted to do was create a distraction. But the distractions continue. Even today, the University of Florida refuting a rumor that they were in discussions to buy out Coach McElwain's contract. Allie LaForce caught up with the Florida head coach earlier.
Coach, you've had to deal with a lot of extra attention around the program this week, starting with the death threats and then the rumors swirling today about a potential buyout.
Right.
How have you handled all of it, and how are you refocusing this team to play football today?
Well, I think, you know, the one thing is it's not about me at all. It's about these players, obviously our university and our fan base, and we've got great fans. And, you know, we're going to come out here and play our tails off and enjoy it. I mean, look, who gets to actually come out and play in something like this? I mean, this is awesome.
It is. And speaking of football, Felipe Franks, you've been saying we're waiting for that breakout moment for him. What will that take to have success against this great Georgia defense today?
Well, it's good. Obviously, they've done a heck of a job piecing it together. And, you know, it's a matter of the guys around him, too. We just got to make some plays when the plays need to count. That's really what we've got to do today.
You have a pretty banged up team right now. Give us an injury update, if any, on this team, but specifically on Kadarius Toney, if he'll be able to go today.
Yeah, Kadarius is going to do everything he can to go, and as they all will. And there'll be enough guys on the sideline for us to go play the game.
That's all that counts. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.
All right, and thanks, Allie. Jim McElwain with a lot to think about right now.
What a bizarre week.
Yeah.
Brian, you agree with me. No one's going to feel sorry for you when things get a little tough.
Yeah.
What you do is you get your staff together and you figure out a way to fix it. That's exactly what Kevin Sumlin, Steve Adazio, Rich Rodriguez, Todd Graham, they've all done that. That's exactly what has to happen in Gainesville.
Yeah, and we all deal with nincompoops from a week-to-week basis because we didn't pick their particular team to win that week. It's nothing personal. It's just who we're going with. And it's clearly, to me, it seems that you got McElwain, who's becoming the drama queen of college football coaches. You had that situation with the shark photo. He couldn't have handled that more wrong this summer at the SEC Media Days. Now you have this. He just needs to chill out and take your advice and get in the bunker and make sure this team can rally around something positive.
Yeah, and the only other comment he gave about the alleged death threats was that he would provide details if it became unmanageable.
Let it go.
But we'll see where everything goes from here, especially on the field, where Florida has prevailed the last 3 years in this storied SEC rivalry, and in 21 of 27 overall. Some fans arrived to the lot as early as Tuesday in Jacksonville. Gator Nation with an upset of Georgia on their mind, while the Bulldog faithful hope to stomp the chomp and keep their playoff dreams alive. State Farm College Football Today is sponsored by State Farm, here to help life go right. Go RVing. Find your way. Go RVing. And by Chick-fil-A. Start game day strong with the new Hash Brown Scramble Bowl. Florida defensive back Chauncey Gardner is second on the team in tackles, and despite facing the #1 rated passer in the SEC, the sophomore is part of a confident secondary, saying earlier this week that Georgia quarterback Jake Fromm was successful because he, quote, throws simple passes. Well, throwing those simple passes has helped the Georgia freshman build a pretty impressive resume. Fromm is 6-0 as a starter. He's tossed 12 touchdowns and has a chance today to lead the Bulldogs one step closer to their first SEC East title since 2012. And another win today should guarantee Georgia a spot in the initial college football playoff rankings top 4, set to be announced on Tuesday. And since that is also Halloween, to get in the spirit, we asked coaches to scare up some of their fondest memories.
My favorite costume is we did The Incredibles as a family, mom, dad, the 2 kids. And there's nothing better than a 45-year-old man in red spandex.
I get to walk around on Halloween and people don't even know it's me. It's the best. Nobody's saying, hey, coach. It's kind of a good get-up that I have.
Back when I was a kid, it was different. We'd go up to houses and they would have punch and like real candy apples and things that we don't have anymore.
I wanted to have the most candy and would sprint, or not sprint, but I mean run from house to house. Found that you got more candy by running than walking.
Just hated going to those houses where they throw a peppermint out there at you. You know, you're like, oh man.
Nobody liked anybody that gave fruit back then. Now it'd probably be a good deal as fruit's gotten more expensive, but had a dentist that would hand out toothbrushes. Wasn't a tremendous fan of that.
I wasn't one of them that really went in costume, went trick-or-treating. I was kind of the one that was behind the scenes, that maybe throwing the eggs.
I'm done with Gary Patterson. I got hit by an egg as a kid.
Well, why are you wasting food? And I know you still own a pair of spandex, right?
I was going to say, you're going as Colonel Mustard.
Rick's still 45, too, right? All right, let's get to some of the other games that have been going on so far today. Rutgers, and they're not in disguise for Halloween. They've been trying to make it 3 straight Big Ten wins, but Michigan turning up the offense. BJ Karan Higdon with the score here, and then Brandon Peters gets in for John O'Korn.
Yeah, former Indiana Mr. Football. He's the quarterback now. John O'Korn wasn't really producing anything whatsoever, and he's got a mighty fine handoff right there to Kareem Walker, who scores. And Kareem Walker, didn't he want to go to Ohio State or something?
35-14 the final. He did originally commit to the Buckeyes. All right, meanwhile, Louisville, they scored the final 44 on Wake Forest last year. The Demon Deacons out for some revenge here, Rick.
Lamar Jackson gets picked off in the end zone by Wake Forest. Isang Bassi, and Lamar's going to hear it from Bob Petrino on the sideline. He didn't get that very often. Wake Forest, John Wolford, the quarterback, had a nice day. Wow. Here he throws to Greg Dortch on a screen pass, takes care of the rest, 52 yards to pay dirt. Second screen touchdown for Dortch.
A 10-point lead with about a minute to go. Good luck figuring out the ACC. And meanwhile, crazy game. Arkansas was down 31-7. Connor Limpert is going to run off the field. Hits the field goal for the go-ahead score, 38-37. How about the Razorbacks, huh?
Unbelievable
Big
finish.
Win.
High-scoring game. 2 teams not giving up on a season.
38-37, the final there. We're getting set for Florida and Georgia.
Pass downfield. The longest passes for Felipe Franks, 18 and 20 yards.
hoping that Malik Zaire shows up in this game.
A reminder, it is Air Force and Colorado State right now over on CBS Sports Network. Game time for number 3 Georgia and Florida is right after this message and a word from your local station. You've been watching State Farm College Football Today on CBS.